Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Bible Illustrated Hands. Today's question comes from Mary. Her question is, hello Boyan, do you sometimes invent questions in order to talk about things that you would like to talk about? I would never do that. The next question comes from John. Hi Boyan, can you go into detail on how an entire Bible Illustrated video is made? Yes, I can. Okay, so this is actually something that I wanted to make a video on the main channel, but then it occurred to me that it's one of those things that would really only interest me and John here and probably no one else. First of all, how does the process go? Actually, I have a table where I put different series on the channel, that there's a good proportion of them, so that I do not overdo some series that may not be as popular or interesting. In essence, I'm trying to have as twice as many of prayers and pencil ropes videos as opposed to other videos. And the way I make these different series sort of different, and I'm going to run you through each one. First of all, we have what used to be called subscriber specials. Now these became variety videos. These included like subscriber specials for first 100 subscribers, then 500, and so on, Serbian mythology, and so forth. I stopped making some special videos for different subscriber milestones because nobody really cares. Like, who cares that I got, I don't know, 10,000 subscribers? Nobody. I mean, nobody's really like sitting on the edge of their seat and they're like, oh, there's going to be a video. Well, there's going to be a video anyway. So, I might reference, nowadays I might reference some special milestone at the beginning of a certain video, and that's it. Then we have the Q&A. I am thinking of discontinuing this series entirely because this very channel, Bible Illustrated Hands, is what Q&A is on the main channel. The only good thing about Q&A on the main channel is that you get your answer illustrated, maybe, but those videos were never really all that popular, and I might as well have a dedicated channel to this specific thing as opposed to making videos about this on the main channel. Then we have what was formerly called Sermon and Speed Draw, and this was renamed to interpret, Preach and Draw, because not all of these were actual speed draws. Now, when it comes to speed draws, people generally record themselves paint or draw, or they record the screen as they do it in some graphic program. However, I have chosen a much more difficult route. I would draw a little, scan, draw a little, scan, draw a little, scan. It was extremely tedious. The scanning part, not so much, but then I would have to crop the images and then assemble them in such a way that each image fits with the previous one. So, like, if I'm drawing a hand, that the hand is appearing and not like moving all over the place. That was extremely tedious. So that is not why I'm doing it anymore. So, like, I would find a priest who would be willing to give a sermon on certain verse, and I would simply illustrate that sermon, which is much more better and efficient. Then we have the reliquary series. I have a separate table where I list all of the saints that people have suggested that I made, and then I opt for some saint that has a short life, like Saint Ephrosinus, because he's basically known for one single event. Whereas the reliquary video for St. John Chrysostom took me ages to make. So how do I make these videos? I generally find a bunch of texts that describe the lives of these saints, and then I make my own version by assembling these. Generally, I use the lives of the saints of Saint Justin Popovich because they're the most exhaustive ones. Sadly, they're also the most worthy ones. When I read the life of Saint Nicholas, it was like, okay, there's like 20 pages of this, but when I actually read it, I realized that these could easily be fit into one single page or even less. So yeah. I assembled those texts, I cut them short. I'm not a huge fan of censoring things, and I generally don't do that. Sometimes I leave out some things that may, prove to be that difficult for people watching the videos. For example, in the life of Saint Spiridon, there is this woman who got pregnant while her husband was on a 2-year voyage. And Saint Spiridon essentially cursed her that she won't give birth until she confesses her sin. She refused to confess. She essentially claimed that she got pregnant with the husband and that the child was refusing to enter this world until its father comes home, which is very an endearing lie. Sadly, she and the child died at the childbirth because of the curse. So I wasn't really a huge fan of drawing that miracle because it is dark all over. So some things are better left unsaid. However, that is, I don't know, one singular case. Sometimes I leave out things because they're pretty much similar to other events. For example, with Saint Xenia of Petersburg, there were a lot of very similar occurrences with her foretelling different things by use of difficult to grasp concepts and symbols, and there wasn't really any point in drawing, five of these events. Only maybe like 2 would do, or 3, or how many I ended up drawing. Technically, I tried to have a sort of equal presentation of Western and Eastern saints, in part because sadly there are a lot of Western saints whose veneration has practically died out due to the Great Schism, and this is in a way my attempt to promote them a little bit more. This especially coming from my annoyance at the way Serbian churches are dedicated, because there's basically, 10 names in rotation, like the feast days of the Lord, the feast days of the Most Holy Theotokos, and then all of the same saints: Saint Michael, Saint Gabriel, Saint Nicholas, Saint Paraskeve, Saint George, and a couple of others. But when a church is dedicated in Serbia, in all probability it will be from the same rooster, which is, I think, a shame, because there are so many wonderful saints, and I think that at least in Serbia they could have there should be more color to whom these saints are dedicated to. Then we have the Pearls of Faith. Again, these are beautiful stories from the individual episode from the Christian saints, or from the history of Christianity, or something that simply stood out and I thought interesting to illustrate. And finally, we have Pencils and the Prayer Ropes, everybody's favorite series, at least when it comes, if we judge it by the number of views. How I decide what to talk about there, again, there are many different ways. Sometimes I simply get an idea and I make a video centered about some concept. Sometimes it is a suggestion. Sometimes this is especially when it comes to certain topics that are more current. For example, somebody asked me, hey, do you have any thoughts about the Turks converting Hagia Sophia into a mosque again? I simply said no, I had nothing special to add about it. But as it happens often with different videos, the script simply unrolled in my mind, and in the end we ended up with a video. So for most of these videos I would type the script or assemble it from different sources. Then I would record. The recording part is my friend Milos from our Church Mouse Chronicles podcast was absolutely shocked when he saw how I record, and I'm going to actually give you a sample of this. I'm simply going to open one of my okay, I will find a random. Okay, here is a Dark Song movie dismemberment script, and you're going to see live how recording of this goes. Mind you, this won't be as bad as it is when I record initially, because I have read this once already, but this is how it goes. So I place my mic and then I start. Hello, my sorcerers in Christ, I'm Boyan, and you guys... Hello, my sorcerers in Christ, I'm Boyan, and you guys really like my previous dismemberment of the crucifix. So I'm losing breath. Hello, my sorcerers in Christ, I'm Boyan, and you guys really like my previous dismemberment of the crucifixion, with a number of you asking me to review additional movies. This movie immediately came, and so on and so forth. So once I record this in Audacity, I need to go through an excruciating phase of listening to it all over again and removing all of the interruptions, faulty little red lines, and if there's anything I hate, that is having to re-record even if it's one line. I absolutely hate that. But at least I hate more having a bad sentence in the video. Something simply passed through my ears, so I do not notice them until it's too late, but it is what it is. Once the recording is done, I would send this to my sound editor, who places music and improves the overall sound levels. And then I would proceed with illustration. All of my videos on the main channel are hand-drawn, so it is the upcoming video, Bad Ways to Confess Your Sins, will be the first video that I've done digitally. It will be done in Microsoft Paint, so it won't be done in Photoshop or some other more modern choices that artists choose when they make videos or digital art. So it will be Paint, which is to this day one of my favorite programs for illustration, because I used it when I was a kid and I use it sometimes to doodle even to this day. As I draw, of course, I make some mistakes. These are later edited in Photoshop. For example, I draw a hand that's kind of too big. Then I cut it out in Photoshop. I use it post it in a different tab. Then I reduce it and I copy it back. That does not always work, of course. So if there's anyone who is making a list of all of the bad things I ever did, if you pay close attention to my art, I think you will find a plethora of bad instances where a drawing was especially sloppily done, or lazily, or whatever. I hate wasting paper, and whenever we print out something wrong, or whenever we print something one-sided at my workplace, I would keep those papers, and then I would draw on the opposite side. When I draw something for my main Bible illustrated project, that is drawing by biblical verses, I generally do not draw on those on the edges of those drawings if I have free space. But for anything else, it is no quarter. So I will try to find some example, but I do not think I have it here at hand. No, I do not, sadly. But a typical completely filled paper would have like Bible Illustrated video illustrations, an illustration for Bible Illustrated Hands thumbnail, and so on. So I scanned these, I edit them, and so on. I have said this many times over, but all of my videos on the main channel are practically glorified PowerPoint presentations because there is no animation in absolute majority of them. It is just images that move consecutively without creating an illusion of movement, which is something that is required for actual animation. These oftentimes a couple of slides will be simply a drawing that is developing, and different elements appear. Once all of this is once all of the drawings are finished, I would fit these images to sound once the sound editor sends it in Windows Movie Maker, and I finish it with the patron cards at the end. I am rather lazy with patron cards, so if a patron cancels their pledge, I usually keep their name a couple of months because I'm very lazy to update, to remove former patrons. So if you're a patron and if you cancel a pledge, your name will be there for a couple of months, I assure you. Unless you're really unlucky and decide to cancel maybe a day or two before I decide to make a little purge. Thanks is due where thanks is due, and again, this is thanks to him because he's a computer guy and he has made this very nifty app where I only need to put a list of my patrons and it will make that screen. The only thing I actually need to add is that thing at the top. This video is made thanks to my patrons. Initially, in the older videos, I would write these names by hand, but right now I have so many patrons that this would take a considerable amount of time. However, for some of my major videos, I still sort of plan to keep doing this, to have it done by hand. Initially I played with it, like I would draw a sensor and the smoke of the sensor would write these names, or I would have a spiral, and this was very, very fun to do. But sadly, I do not have time. And you guys know that I haven't, the upload on my main channel has practically come to a halt. Again, because the moving, the redecorating of the new apartment, an important work project that hopefully will be ended next week. Lord grant us this. And once that is over, I will have many more new videos. Once I upload the video, I generally try to respond to comments, but after some time, again, this is very time consuming. One of the advices that people pieces of advice that people generally give to young YouTubers: respond to every comment. If only. Right now, that is impossible. Once I put the video on, I would watch it maybe from time to time. I generally do not rewatch my videos because as time passes on, I start noticing some little flaws or mistakes that really annoy me. For example, in the Tollhouse video, I, for example, say that I know there are no Tollhouse icons before, 17th century. There were from the 14th century, and the two calendars video has some glaring mistakes in the first part. That is when I describe the process of calculating Pascha, which is wrong, and over time this pile up and these annoy me, and there's no way for me to change this without uploading a new video or maybe removing sound. But then That's Sound of Silence is simply glaring to me. I've only removed sound in one of my videos. I'm not going to tell you which, but it was for a very good reason. I think that's it. Nobody cared about this except John and me. But yeah, these are the little secrets of mediocre sort of masters. Yeah, so that's it. Again, for movie dismemberments, I screenshot videos. I do not want to play clips because I do not want to get into trouble for copyright infringement or anything, even though there would be no sound, but I basically spoiled the plots of entire movies, so it's only screenshots. I must say that the movie reviews, even though there's only like 2, are extremely fun to make because I have free reign with my sense of humor. I like spoofing movies, and I like joking when I watch movies with my friends, and this is this is a sample of what you would experience if we watched movies in common. That's it. Pray for me, and I'll pray for you. Bye, guys.